Hello again, it's your broadcaster, Billy the Shakespeare's, welcoming you back to the Monroe County Civic Theater Podcast, bringing you poetry readings from our very own theater community. Featuring, of course, our main man, Mr. William Shakespeare, a member since ever, and many other playwrights and poets from antique to tomorrow, world-renowned and locally found, all the best in sense and sound. That's what you'll get in this episode. We'll have some exciting announcements about our 2020 season, so stay tuned. Remember, the show must go on, and it's up to you to help keep it going. Please send us recordings of your favorite sonnets, poems, and soliloquies. If you regard the bard, it's not too hard. Play your part. Just send to Monroe County Civic Theater at gmail.com. In our previous episode, I hosted our first ever Bardathon Pledgeathon. I'm happy to report our listeners really came through. Thanks to everyone who sent in their recordings. Now, on with the show. Our first recording by Frank Buczolich is from the play Doubt, a Parable, written by John Patrick Shanley. In this scene, Father Flynn delivers a sermon to his congregation following President Kennedy's assassination. It's the story of a sailor who's lost at sea and has doubts about the course he set. The sailor's doubt becomes a metaphor for his community who's lost its certainty. Father Flynn explains how, out of collective doubt, a sense of community and security can be built.
I want to tell you a story. A cargo ship sank one night. It caught fire and went down. And only this one sailor survived. He found a lifeboat, rigged a sail, and being of a nautical discipline, turned his eyes to the heavens and read the stars. He set a course for his home and, exhausted, fell asleep. Clouds rolled in, and for the next 20 nights he could no longer see the stars. He thought he was on course, but there was no way to be certain. And as the days rolled on and the sailor wasted away, he began to have doubts. Had he set his course right? Was he still going on towards his home? Or was he horribly lost and doomed to a terrible death? No way to know. The message of the constellations. Had he imagined it because of his desperate circumstance? Or had he seen truth once and now had to hold on to it without further reassurance? There are those of you in church today who know exactly the crisis of faith I describe. And I want to say to you, doubt can be a bond as powerful and sustaining as certainty. When you are lost, you are not alone.
Beverly Calender-Anderson is up next, reading the poem Mother and Son by Langston Hughes. Hughes, an important member of the Harlem Renaissance, wrote about the oppression and racism that Black Americans face. In this poem, a mother advises her son. She compares her life to a stairway. No matter how dangerous or difficult the stairs get, one must keep climbing.
Well, son, I'll tell you. Life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it and splinters and boards torn up and places with no carpet on the floor. Bare. But all the time I've been a-climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't no light. So, boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down on the steps 'cause you find it kind of hard. Don't you fall now. For I still going, honey. I still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
Here's a poem read by I. James Torry. This one, called I, Too, is also by Langston Hughes. Even though the speaker feels pushed aside and excluded because of his race, he proclaims that he too is an American and an important part of his country.
I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh and I eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, They'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I, too, am America.
Read by Laura DeBrunner. Here's another one by Hughes called Dreams. He urges his listeners to nurture their dreams and fly above the bleak conditions of the world toward more hopeful destinations. Hold on tight to your dreams.
Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field, frozen with snow.
Here's another Langston Hughes poem, Let America Be America Again, read by Zilia Balkansky-Selles.
Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the way of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker, sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry yet today despite the dream, beaten yet today. Oh, pioneers! I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years. Yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world, while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrow turned, that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore, and Poland's plain, and England's grassy lea, and torn from black Africa's strand, I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me. Surely not me. The millions on relief today? The millions shot down when we strike? The millions who have nothing for our pay? For all the dreams we've dreamed, and all the songs we've sung, and all the hopes we've held, and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay except the dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again. America! Oh, yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath. America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies, we, the people, must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless plain, all the stretch of these great green states, and make America again.
Our next reading is a unique rendition of the poem Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. Shatoyia Moss organized over 30 local Black women to lend their voices for this recording. Maya Angelou draws upon her personal experience to express that of African Americans in the United States. It's a message of liberation and survival.
Write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise.
Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room.
Still I'll rise.
Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high.
Still I rise.
You see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, weakened by my soulful cries.
Still I rise.
Does my haughtiness offend you? Do you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I got gold mines.
Still I'll rise. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like air, I'll rise.
Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs?
With the huts of history shame,
I rise.
Up from a past that's rooted in pain,
I rise.
I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling I bear in the tide.
Leaving behind nights of terror and fear.
I rise.
Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear.
Still I'll rise.
Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of a slave.
I rise. I rise.
We have and will continue to rise, and we will rise until we are all free one day.
Here's another poem read by Beverly Calender-Anderson. It's called The Women Gather. It's written by Nikki Giovanni. She calls on the role of women in the recognizing of essential goodness in human beings that allows us to come together for comfort in times of need, like these. We're all in this together.
The women gather because it is not unusual to seek comfort in our hours of stress. A man must be buried. It is not unusual that the old bury the young, though it is an abomination. It is not strange that the unwise and the ungentle carry the banner of humaneness, though it is a castration of the spirit. It no longer shatters the intellect that those who make war call themselves diplomats. We are no longer surprised that the unfaithful pray the loudest every Sunday in church, and sometimes in rooms facing east, though it is a sin and a shame. So how do we judge a man? Most of us love from our need to love, not because we find someone deserving. Most of us forgive because we have transgressed, not because we are magnanimous. Most of us comfort because we need comforting. Our ancient rituals demand that we give what we hope to receive. And how do we judge a man? We learn to greet when meeting, to cry when parting, and to soften our words at times of stress. The women gather with cloth and ointment, their busy hands bowing to laws that decree willows shall stand, swaying but unbroken against even the determined wind of death. We judge a man by his dreams, not alone his deeds. We judge a man by his intent, not alone his shortcomings. We judge a man because it is not unusual to know him through those who love him. The women gather strangers to each other because they have loved a man. It is not unusual to sift through ashes and find an unburnt picture.
Up next is I, James Torry, reading a verse from the song Lift Every Voice and Sing, originally written as a poem by the NAACP leader James Weldon Johnson. In 1900, a choir of 500 school children first sang it on Abraham Lincoln's birthday at the segregated school where Johnson was principal. What progress has been made is in large measure due to people like him and those he inspired.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as high as the listening sky. Let it resound as loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
The next piece was originally a song lyric. It's Cecil Francis Alexander's All Things Bright and Beautiful, being read by our own Dianne Shewmaker. The words were first published in 1848 in Alexander's book Hymns for Little Children.
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. Each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings, He made their glowing colors, He made their tiny wings. The purple-headed mountain, the river running by, the sunset and the morning that brightens up the sky, the cold wind in the winter, the pleasant summer sun, the ripe fruits in the garden, He made them every one. The tall trees in the greenwood, the meadows where we play, the rushes by the water we gather every day. He gave us eyes to see them and lips that we might tell how great is God Almighty, who has made all things well.
Here's Dan Heise reading the poem of the English poet Robert Southey, The Cataract of Ladore. Written in 1820 for his children, Southey's poem traces the stream from its source through onomatopoeia as it rumbles, tumbles, foams, and roams before ending in a mighty uproar at the falls in Keswick.
How does the water come down at Ladore? My little boy asked me thus once on a time, and moreover, he tasked me to tell him in rhyme. Anon at the word there first came one daughter, and then came another, to second and third, the request of their brother, and to hear how the water comes down at Ladore, with its rush and its roar, as many a time they had seen it before. So I told them in rhyme, for of rhymes I have store, and 'twas in my vocation for their recreation that so I should sing, for I was laureate to them and the king. From its sources, which well in the tarn on the fell, from its fountains in the mountains, its rills and its gills, through moss and through brake it runs, for a while, till it creeps in its own little lake, and thence at departing, awakening and starting, it runs through the reeds, and away it proceeds, through meadow and through glade, in sun and in shade, and through the wood shelter amongst crags in its flurry. Helter-skelter, hurry, scurry, here it comes, sparkling, and there it lies, darkling now, smoking and frothing its tumult and wrath, and until, in this race on which it is bent, it reaches the place of its steep descent, the cataract strong now plunges along, striking and raging as if a war raging its caverns and rocks among, rising and leaping, swelling and sweeping, showering and springing, writhing and ringing, flying and flinging, smiting and fighting, a sight to delight in, confounding, astounding, and dizzying, and deafening the ear with its sound, and so never-ending, but always descending, sounds and motion forever and ever are blending all at once and all over with a mighty uproar. And in this way, the water comes down at Adaire.
Pam Cocalis reads Shakespeare's 8th sonnet, which compares the beauty of music to being of kin. Family can be the key to a harmonious life.
Music to hear. Why hear'st thou music sadly? Sweets with sweets war not. Joy delights in joy. Why lov'st thou that which thou receiv'st not gladly? Or else receives with pleasure thine annoy? If the true concord of well-tuned sounds, by unions married, do offend thine ear, they do but sweetly chide thee, who confounds in singleness the parts that thou shouldst bear. Mark how one string, sweet husband to another, strikes each in each by mutual ordering, resembling sire and child and happy mother, who all in one pleasing note do sing, whose speechless song, being many, seeming one, sings this to thee, thou single wilt prove none.
Our next reading comes from Garrett Rowe. It's the first scene of A Midsummer Night's Dream, in which Aegeus has come to see Theseus, the Duke of Athens, with a complaint against his daughter Hermia. Aegeus has promised her in marriage to Demetrius, but Lysander has won her heart. Hermia refuses to obey her father and marry Demetrius. Dad demands her death as the law prescribes. Fun ensues. Fathers don't always know best, and what they don't know won't hurt them.
Full of vexation, come I with complaint against my child, my daughter Hermia. Stand forth, Demetrius. My noble lord, this man hath my consent to marry her. Stand forth, Lysander, and my gracious Duke. This man hath bewitched the bosom of my child. Thou, Lysander, thou hast given her rhymes and interchanged love tokens with my child. Thou hast by moonlight at her window sung, with feigning voices, verses of feigning love, and stolen the impression of a fantasy, with bracelets of thy hair, rings, gauds, consents, knacks, trifles, nosegays, sweetmeats, messengers of strong prevelament and unhardened youth. With cunning hast thou flinched my daughter's heart, turned her obedience, which is due to me, to stubborn harshness. My gracious Duke, be it so she will not hear before your grace consent to marry with Demetrius. I beg the ancient privilege of Athens. As she is mine, I may dispose of her, which shall be either with this gentleman or to her death, according to our law.
In 2019, MCCT staged a production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, featuring students from Indiana University's Jacobs School of Music playing Felix Mendelssohn's score for the play under the brilliant direction of Benjamin Watkins. You can find the video link to the full performance of that production and others on our past seasons and archive page at www.mcct.org. Here's what you've been waiting for. That exciting announcement regarding our 2020 season. MCCT will be presenting an online performance of William Shakespeare's Henry V this November. Keep an eye open on our social media and website for more details on this upcoming production. Now for more even exciting news. We have a preview. Here's Dan Heise reading the famous prologue from Act 4. He describes the camps of the English and French armies the night before the Battle of Agincourt. It's no wonder the French officers are overly confident. They outnumber the English 5-1. The English soldiers believe that they will likely die the next morning and resignedly wait their fate. During the night, King Henry goes out among his soldiers to boost their morale.
Now, entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp and through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds that fixed sentinels do almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch. Steed threatens steed in high and boastful neighs, piercing the night's dull ear. And from the tents, the armorers accomplishing the nights, with busy hammers closing rivets up, sound dreadful note of preparation. The country cock does crow, the clock doth toll, and the third hour of drowsy morning name. Proud of their numbers and secure in soul, the confident and overlusty French do the low-rated English play at dice, and chide the crippled tardy-gated knight, who like a foul and ugly witch doth limp so tediously away. And the poor condemned English, like sacrifices, sit by their watchful fires, and inly ruminate the morning's dangers, investing lank, lean cheek, and war-worn coat, presenteth them into the gazing moon so many horrid ghosts. Now, who shall behold the royal captain of this ruined band? For forth he goes, and visits all his host, and bids them good morrow, and with a modest smile calls them all friend, brother, and countryman. Upon his face there is no note of how dread an army hath enrounded him, nor does he dedicate one jot of color unto the weary and all-watched night, but freshly looks, and overbears a taint with cheerful semblance and sweet majesty, a largesse universal like the sun his doting eye doth give to every one, that every wretch, pining and pale before beholding him, does receive a little touch of Harry in the night. And so our scene must to the battle fly, where for pity we shall much disgrace with 4 or 5 most vile and ragged foils, right ill disposed, in brawl ridiculous, the name of Agincourt. Yet sit and see, minding true things by what their mockeries be.
The next reading in our Henry V preview was submitted by Frank Buczolich. Act 4, Scene 6. In this moving scene, Exeter describes the mortally wounded Duke of York viewing his cousin's, the Duke of Suffolk's body, during the Battle of Agincourt. It's a testament to the brotherly bond formed between comrades in arms.
In which array, brave soldier, doth he lie, larding the plain, and by his bloody side, yoke-fellow to his honor-owing wounds, the noble Earl of Suffolk also lies. Suffolk first died, and York, all haggled over, comes to him, where in gore he lay ensteeped, and takes him by the beard, kisses the gashes that bloodily did spawn upon his face, and cries aloud, "Tarry, dear cousin Suffolk, my soul shall thine keep company to heaven. Tarry, sweet soul, for mine, and fly abreast, as in this glorious and well-foughten field be kept together in our chivalry." Upon these words I came and cheered him up. He smiled me in the face, wrought me his hand, and with a feeble gripe says, "Dear my lord, commend my service to me, sovereign." So did he turn, and over Suffolk's neck he threw his wounded arm and kissed his lips. And so, espoused to death, with blood he sealed a testament of noble ending love. The pretty and sweet manner of it forced those waters from me, which I would have stopped, but I had not so much of man in me. And all my mother came into mine eyes, and gave me up to tears.
Over the past 6 months, MCCT has been bringing you online content to zoom away the doom and gloom. This November, we'll be presenting an online performance of Henry V. But that's not all. Throughout the spooky month of October, we'll be chilling you with readings of Edgar Allan Poe. I'll be doing the intros safely in my Halloween mask. Before we conclude our episode, I'd like to take a moment to pay tribute to our friend, Cairril Adaire, who passed away on July 8th. She was a big part of our theater community for many years, a talented actress and singer, and most importantly, a dear friend. Before she left us, she sent us some audio recordings intended for this podcast. In accordance with her own and her family's wishes, we're now going to share them with you. The first reading is from Hamlet, Act 4, Scene 7, in which Gertrude tells Laertes that his sister, Ophelia, has drowned.
There is a willow grows aslant a brook that shows his hoar leaves in the glassy stream. There with fantastic garlands did she come of crowflowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples that liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There, on the pendant boughs, her coronet weeds clambering to hang, an envious sliver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide and mermaid-like a while they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old tunes, as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and endued unto that element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Cairril was in several MCCT productions in recent years, including 2012's Macbeth, 2013's A Midsummer Night's Dream, and 2015's Cymbeline. Her most recent on-stage appearance was playing the Duke of Albany in 2018's King Lear. She was also a very active participant in our podcast. Here's the final recording she submitted to us. It's from A Winter's Tale, Act 5, Scene 3. In this scene, Hermione, under the guise of a statue, is restored to life by Paulina. Thank you, Cairril, for sharing your art with us. We'll miss you. May your friends and family find comfort in hearing your voice.
Music, awake her. Strike, 'tis time. Descend, be stone no more. Approach, strike all that look upon with marvel. Come, I'll fill your grave up. Stir, nay, come away. Bequeath to death your numbness, for from him dear life redeems you. You perceive she stirs. Start not. Her action shall be as holy as you hear my spell is lawful. Do not shun her until you see her die again, for then you kill her double. Nay, present your hand. When she was young you wooed her. Now in age is she become the suitor.